Hey everyone, it's been a bit. So I wanted to come up with something. So Tonga and I have been planning to work on our sort of summer reading recaps, but it's been a long summer. I know I posted on, back in May, and I posted again in June, and I mentioned it in one video, but we haven't really been very active. So at the beginning of May, I ended up in the ER, had some issues, and then at the end of June, those issues became pretty severe. Ended up back in the ER, and actually they had to hospitalize me because, long story short, my organs were failing and all that stuff. So I ended up in the ICU. I was there for about a week. I had a couple of surgeries. So it's been a lot this summer. And when I first got out of the hospital in July, I was mostly just, because I was prepping for another surgery and everything. So I spent a lot of time stuck in bed. So I was able to get some reading done. But I just haven't had a chance to put anything together. And then the month of August, I didn't do a whole lot else. Still recovering because I had another surgery at the end of the month of July, and then it took until a couple weeks ago really to fully be kind of back at my regular self. And obviously still things to watch, but hopefully better. But I only read 2 books in August. So I read a ton in July for the readathon, and I will at some point. I have everything ready. I just need to go through it. I'm rereading one of the books, and I just haven't had a chance to do it. And so before I really put together the thing, I listened to it on audio, and I'm not really an audiobook person, but I was feeling really, when I was in the hospital, I definitely just didn't have, even though I had nothing else to do, and I had my phone and everything, and I had actual books, I couldn't even lift anything. I just spent a lot of time just staring at the wall and then falling asleep, and I fell asleep a lot. So I did listen to one of the books on audio, but I didn't really like the voice acting, and I feel like I lost something, and it's a book by an author I really, really like, and I was super excited about, so I just need to have a chance to kind of sit with it, read it, the physical book, and kind of see if that changes anything for me before I actually put together my stuff. So I got that. I've got to reread. I'm almost there, but I got to finish that. And then I only have the 2 books from August to talk about. So what I'm gonna do while I'm putting that together, Sir Tonka's putting his together. His is done. He hasn't been doing much reading in the last week or 2 because he's back in school. So he will do his, and then once he has any energy, because right now he's, back in school, the first month or so is hard, and he's actually changing schools, in a couple weeks. So it kind of happened last minute, suddenly, but he will be changing schools. So there's a lot of things happening. So bear with us. Basically, we will have our summer reading recaps up, but they'll probably be closer to the middle to maybe even end of the month, hopefully middle. And then we can do our September, which hopefully at least, I think Sir Chong's will start to slow down. He just doesn't read as much in the, in the school year, but hopefully he'll have a few things, if she can tack on to mine, and hopefully we'll have a September recap. And then we can get back into it. There's a readathon in October I'm going to hopefully participate in, and I have big plans. So I really do hope that this kind of gets things back on track. It's been rough because I also am looking around my house, which is already messy. And then I just feel like it's been 2 months of doing nothing except running to... When I wasn't in the hospital, I was going to doctor's visits and, having testing done and going back into the hospital and having surgery and then lying around and healing from things. So I just have so much, like, I feel overwhelmed by. And then I lost a bunch of time from work. So yeah, a lot of things trying to kind of catch up on. So this is my September TBR. And like I said, there's my explanation for where we've been. I apologize. We haven't been very active. And I know, we're not like super popular or anything, but I feel bad. I mean, I'm always like, oh, we should just make a video, and we keep saying it, and then we just don't have the energy to do anything. So, yeah, if you are watching and you want to tag us in any kind of, like, I don't know, book tags or anything that we should participate in or talk about, please do, because we're kind of like starting over right now. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the 12 books I hope to read this month. It's already the beginning of September, so, I mean, I think 12 isn't too unreasonable, but a couple of them are long, so we'll really have to just see how things go. But hopefully it'll happen. So the first one is Driving Blind, which is a collection by Ray Bradbury, and this is part of the Bookish Drummers Ray Bradbury Discord book club. I haven't read this one, so I'm excited. What's nice about, I don't generally like short stories, but I really like Ray Bradbury's short stories. Him and Stephen King and, there's another author, but I'll talk about him at the end, that I think are good with short stories, and otherwise I'm not really a short story person. So, I do like his a lot. So I'm hoping this will be good. I haven't read this one. I'm sure there'll be some that I've already read before at some point in other collections, but looking forward to it. And what's nice about short stories is I can kind of plug them in when I don't have a lot of time, but I can read a short story here and there and make progress in this while, also reading novels. Then the next one is Love and Luck, which some of you might know I actually started back in like May. And then it was due back at the library. And then in June, I bought a copy and planned on reading it in June, and then just didn't, obviously. And so I'm about 20% done. So so far it's not very complex. So I don't think I'm going to have to start over. I mean, I may read like the last chapter just to remember where I'm at. But yeah, so hopefully it'll be a little shorter too, because I'll have already read part of it. And the same goes for the next one, which is A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. I have had this book for years. Her new one comes out in a couple months. And I'm like, I should probably get back to her, right? Because I like her other two books. So I started this one as well in May, and then it was due back to the library. I haven't bought it. I just have gotten it back from the library. Hopefully I won't read another 20% and then have it go back to the library and just keep doing that every few months. So hopefully I'll be able to finish this. I actually have a physical copy of the book too. I'm just, in this case, like Love and Luck, I didn't. This one I have a physical copy, and I was looking to read it digitally, but I mean, if I absolutely have to and I really want to finish it this month, I can go and dig out my physical copy. The next thing I'm going to read is Logging Off by Nick Spalding. I had read a book of his last year and really, really enjoyed it. So we had, so Chunk and I had come up with a summer reading challenge, which I think we mentioned months ago on something. I'll see if I can find that video. But we'll catch up. We're going to do I have to do a whole challenge recap because it's been a few months since I've done any updates on the challenges. So this is one of the ones I wanted to finish for that. The Only Survivors. I think this has been on my TBR many times. But I am hoping to finish this month because for the Read Your Bookshelf challenge, it was actually August, was to have a book with a house on the cover, but I only read 2 books. So this is kind of left over from that. This is, to be fair, most of this is actually my August TBR, and then I just hadn't gotten to anything. So the next one is The Girls by Emma Cline. This is on my 24 for 24, so I'm going to try to read this. And then Moby Dick is probably a huge thing to try to take on, but I have 3 things left for my challenge with my swap with Sir Chong. He's finished all the ones for me. And I still have to read this, Return of the King, because I had already read Fellowship, and I finished Two Towers, and now I need to read Return of the King. I need to read Moby Dick, and I need to read Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which I actually think I'm most likely to enjoy out of the three. So I figured I'm going to try to read this. One of our challenge things for our summer challenge was a book from the 1800s, so I feel like it covers both. Also another big chunky book is Watership Down. This is Sir Chong's favorite book, or one of his favorite books of all time, and so this is in my 24 for 24 because I haven't read it. I've only seen the movie. So going to hopefully try to read that. And then The Lost Village, I had, for the 52 book club, they did a special Summer Olympic challenge, which again I will put in my challenge recap later in the month. And the only one I didn't get to was you had to wait to see who won the gold in any of the indoor or beach volleyball, men's or women's, whichever country won the gold. And so you have basically 4 countries to read a book set in one of those 4 countries. And so I think this was set in Sweden. And so they had won. And I obviously didn't know that until early to mid-August. And I just haven't had a chance to do any reading since then. So this is me wrapping up that challenge because that's the only one I didn't do. Then I'm also going to read the book, The Box in the Woods. There's a September 52 book club mini challenge. So this will be one of those. I'll go over that when I get into my challenges because some of these are going to double up in different things. But I had read the first, the official original trilogy of Truly Devious. I really, really enjoyed it. I just found the characters fun, very likable, kind of people I would have hung out with. And I like Maureen Johnson's style. I know it's not for everyone, but I like her. And so this is a standalone. I'm not sure that I need more, but we'll see. So we're going to see. I'm going to try it. It's only a standalone, so worst case, I hate it. I don't continue with other standalones. And then I have The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle. This just sounded like a nice, light kind of character study, which I thought might be, something for me that isn't really my natural thing, but, with some heavy books in terms of length and then also heavy content stuff, I thought, hey, maybe I'll just read a nice light book. So I'm going to try this. And again, as long as none of these books end up due back to the library. And then I want to read The Drawing of the Three. I do have this. I finally read The Gunslinger, which I will talk about in my recap, and I did love it. And so I'm finally going to try to tackle the Dark Tower series. So this is book 2. I started it. And then I had to return it to the library, but I have it back. I do have a physical copy though. So, if I can just go dig it up. It doesn't belong to me though. It's Sir Chong's, and he and I are very different in the way we like to read our books, and he's always complaining about how I either hold it or, he's very picky. And so, if I can keep reading it digitally, I will. And so the last thing I mentioned, that Stephen King and Ray Bradbury were 2 of the best short story writers, and the only other one I have mentioned in the past was Neil Gaiman, and I know I've mentioned in the past that I really, really liked Neil Gaiman's work, and obviously I can't change the fact that Neverwhere is still one of the best books I'd ever read. I love Sandman. Luckily, he is not the only person involved in the Sandman comics. But if you haven't paid attention, he's been in the news. A lot of crappy things. And as somebody who has been a survivor of sexual assault, if there's one person comes forward, I'm not necessarily siding with either person. I definitely believe them, but I also understand that sometimes things can be nuanced or complicated. Individual relationships can have a lot of complexities, but, that's so rare. I could only probably name 2 or 3 people that have only had one person say anything. It's always like one person and then another person and then two more people, and suddenly we're at like 5 and 6 people, and there's even more coming, or they don't need to, because at this point it's obviously a pattern of behavior. And so, I know the big question is, can you separate art from the artist? And I can, if the artist isn't alive anymore and profiting off of, what they've done. But to me, there's a big difference between reading Lovecraft and saying, well, yeah, Lovecraft was a racist, but whatever, I like some of his stuff. Everybody was kind of a racist in the one time he was alive. Would he still be a racist today? If so, I wouldn't want to read his books today, but at the same time, now we're talking about, somebody who, I don't want to give money to. I don't want to give money to J.K. Rowling. I don't want to give money to people who are doing kind of hurtful things to other people, especially on like a bigger scale, or have a repeat, a pattern of this behavior. And in this case in particular, a lot of this sounds like, obviously I wasn't there, but at the same time, a lot of it sounds like he kind of used his fame to prey on women. And so the last thing I want to be doing is giving him more ability to prey on women. So, it's really unfortunate, because he was one of my favorite authors. But, I'm really very much not a celebrity worship kind of person. I always figure, hey, you know what? You never know who they really are. And that's why I just figure, they're not real people. Like, they create some works that I like. They have created some works I've liked, but it doesn't matter how much I like some of the work he's made. I will no longer fund, his behavior. So that's where I'm at with that. It's unfortunate, because he was a writer I really liked, but, I like women not being sexually violated more. So, that's where I'm at. And hopefully, I stay healthy, and, we'll be back in a week or so, or maybe even sooner. And I hope you have a happy fall, when fall comes in a couple weeks, and hopefully we will have some stuff up before then or right around then. So anyway, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Bye.